Well, I'm so happy to be able to present this today because I know that that who I'm talking to are people that are working with the uninsured, underinsured, the people that need the safety net, and all the people that need the safety net, that have the diagnosis, that need the care, all have caregivers that, of course, need to take care of themselves. So, so I know you're going to be, in working with patients every day, you're going to run into caregivers that are going to need to know this information and may be able to utilize some of it. So, so I like I said before, respite is the gift of time for family caregivers to take care of themselves. So I like to kind of start with a quick scenario of just imagine that your supervisor came into your office, told you that your job schedule had changed. You're now working 24/7, and you can't leave the office unless somebody comes to take your place. What would you do? A lot of people tell me that they would quit. And it's like, well, yeah, that would be easy if it was your day job that you're getting paid to do and you could go out and find another one to get paid. But this is the situation that caregivers find themselves in every day, and they can't quit because they are caring for their loved ones. And if they don't do it, then their loved one may need to go to a nursing home, they may need to go to an institutional setting, and so that is the mindset of family caregivers. So I like to put that out there so that so you kind of get an idea of what family caregivers face on a daily basis. And family caregivers have a lot of feelings. I mean, just because they're a family caregiver doesn't mean they're happy all the time, and they can, and they're really, really happy about caring for their loved one. Sometimes they can be angry about having to take care of their loved one every day. They may, they lose their sense of self. They could feel powerlessness and guilt about thinking they're not doing enough for their loved one that they're caring for. And of course, isolation, because the person that needs the care is in the home 24/7, but that may be the only person that the caregiver has an interaction with for days on end. So so that cutoff from their social contacts can be very detrimental to a family caregiver and their physical health and their mental health. So in 2013, there was nearly 1 million family caregivers in Tennessee, and they provided 913 million hours of care. And that's more than $10 billion annually. So this, yeah, this is the slide that I show that's like, people say, well, family caregivers, they're people, they can take care of themselves. They're not the ones that are diagnosed with dementia or autism or MS, but if family caregivers aren't doing what they're doing, that $10 billion annually needs to come from somewhere, because right now they're doing it for free. So that $10 billion would somehow have to come out of the budget to pay for care for the people that need care, that the caregivers are taking care of right now. So that's kind of the slide that I use with any legislature or our funders that to give them that dollar figure of what we do is really important to keep the caregivers in their homes. And here's just a couple of faces of caregiving. I like to show a little bit, and so caregivers can be anybody. As you can see in the upper left, this is a caregiver that we helped that was caring for her mom with Alzheimer's. And she was retired from the state of Tennessee that she had worked for a number of years, and she utilized our services to get that break that she needed. And then right below that picture is a mom who is caring for her child with a disability. We are a lifespan organization because caregiving doesn't discriminate, age or race or socioeconomic group. It doesn't matter. If you're a caregiver, you're caring for your loved one, you've come from any background, any age. So we serve people who are caring for children with disabilities all the way up to caring for your parents with Alzheimer's. And then in the middle, this is one of my favorite couples. Their name is Bob and Neva. And Bob, they had both been married before and divorced, and then they got married, and about, I think it was a few months after they got married, Neva started showing signs of MS, and she really went downhill pretty quickly. But Bob was right there with her the whole time, and he's like, I signed up for this, even though I didn't know what I was signing up for. She's my wife, and I'm gonna keep her at home as long as possible. And Bob actually used his respite to go out and ride his bike, his motorcycle with his friends. And they were just such a special couple that was able to use respite, to really maintain their relationship and give Bob the time that he needed to stay connected to his community. So, like I said, respite is the gift of time. It's temporary relief for caregivers. Now, that's a big stressor. It's not the end-all, be-all. It's not going to be 24/7 help coming in. It is that 1 hour so a caregiver can go to their doctor's appointment. It is the 3 hours so that parents with a child with a disability can go out on a date on a Friday night. It's temporary relief for caregivers. It strengthens the family system because they're able to, the caregiver gets the chance to do what they need to do, but that care recipient, the person that needs the care, also has somebody else taking care of them. So they're able to have a different contact socially, so it helps relieve a lot of stress and tension between that caregiver-care recipient relationship that sometimes can build up. And it protects that health and well-being for the caregivers and care recipients. Now, there is a federal act that provides some funding to states, since the Lifespan Respite Care Act. And it defines respite as planned or emergency care provided to a child or adult with a special need in order to provide temporary relief to the family caregiver of that adult or child. Now, this is something that we deal with a lot when people call. They say, I need respite for my dad. And their dad is the person they're caring for. Or I need respite for my son. My son has autism and he needs respite. So we go through here at the Tennessee Respite Coalition, we go through a kind of a coaching situation with a lot of caregivers to let them know and help them realize that the respite is for them as a family caregiver. Of course, they wouldn't need respite if they weren't caring for their loved one, and their loved one is who qualifies them for respite. But the respite is actually a service for them. It's the time for them to take care of themselves. And these are just a couple of quotes that I put together for to show what respite really means to family caregivers. And the last one really always hits home for me. It's before receiving respite, I really took time out for myself and I realized that having time away is beneficial to everyone in the house. So I have a couple of tips that I give to family caregivers. Ask for and accept help. Now, I always say I want to change this slide because I read somewhere, I read an article years ago saying that telling somebody to ask for help when they're in the middle of the situation is kind of telling a person in the middle of the ocean that's drowning to say, hey, why aren't you asking somebody to throw you a life preserver? So I know that, we have to be really good, and we as professionals need to be able to help caregivers recognize and understand that they have needs, and that they should, we should be able to offer the help when we recognize that situation and not wait for them to ask for the help. So this leads me to the Tennessee Respite Helpline. It is a helpline. It's not a hotline, so it's not an emergency number. It's the number that gets you right to our office here. Our office is located in Nashville, but we do serve the entire state. And it is the entry place for access to anything that the Respite Coalition does as far as programming. Probably what we are most known for across the state, and which is really our statewide program, is our Respite Voucher Program. Now I know that you all are working in clinics, for that uninsured, underinsured population. So the financial barriers to family caregivers getting respite for the people that you're working with are real, and you see those every day. So our Respite Voucher Program actually helps reimburse the family caregiver for some of the cost of hiring somebody to come into their house to give them a break. So there's a lot of technical stuff that goes behind this. What you need to know as the person and talking to family caregivers is give them our number and have them call. You don't have to worry about if we have money available for their specific situation or not. You don't need to worry about, if they qualify. I can tell you if they are in a caregiving situation, they're caring for someone with a diagnosis or a disability, and they're in that 24/7 caregiving situation, they qualify. We have funding from 8 different funding sources right now that put together. Each one has different qualifications, like the Department of Mental Health funding is specifically for caregivers of children under the age of 18 with a severe emotional disturbance or autism diagnosis, and the family income needs to be below $40,000. But we also have funding that is available through the Commission on Aging and Disability that serves any caregiver of any care recipient, any age, any diagnosis, anywhere in the state, and any income. So you let us worry about which fund and if we have money available. You just need to get this number into the hands of family caregivers and have them call us. That's the most important thing. And if for some reason, right now we've got money available, but if for some reason we need to put the individual caregiver on a waiting list until we have some money open up, that's okay, because for us to go out and advocate for that caregivers need more respite and more funding, we need to know that the caregivers are out there. So even if we're not able to help the caregiver right when they call, it helps us as an organization know that they're there, because then we can make a case and say, we have X number of caregivers in Sevier County saying, we have, that are dealing with caring for people with Alzheimer's, and we need specific funding for this specific population, and that helps us build our case. So that number, 888-579-3754, is what you need to know and get out to family caregivers. So the next thing I like to tell caregivers is really to plan for respite. Keep a list of things that you would like to do if you had some time, because we know that if, I mean, I can speak to this in my personal life. If I got a break from work or, take a day off for vacation or something, I usually do the things that I have to do and not necessarily the things that I want to do. And the things I want to do are going to be the ones that are going to fulfill me, help me rest, help me recharge, help me feel refreshed to keep going at work. And so if I don't plan to do some of those things during my vacation time, it's going to be a bunch of running around, taking care of stuff, and I'm not going to be coming back refreshed. So it's important for caregivers to really think about and plan for respite. Keep those what your favorite things are to do. Eat well, exercise. I mean, family caregivers are people just like anybody else. Things that are healthy for everybody are the things that are going to keep the family caregiver healthy as well. November is coming up. It's National Family Caregiver Month every year. We do have some events across the state that are going to be recognizing family caregivers, days of pampering, educational events, and we will have all those listed on our website, tnrespite.org, as it gets closer to November. Seek peer support. There's a lot of, support groups out there for people who are diagnosed with cancer or people that, are experiencing something. It's the same thing for caregivers. Seeking peer support from people who are in your same situation is helpful. And it helps you get through the day knowing that somebody else knows exactly what you're feeling at that time. So there are online resources that you can go to. The third one down, caregiver.va.gov, is for caregivers of veterans. The VA is Veterans Association. I had somebody ask me if that meant Virginia, and I'm like, nope, that's that's the Veteran Association. And then the fifth one down, archrespite.org, that is our national organization that respite coalitions and caregiver coalitions belong to, that has information on respite across the country. So if you know of a caregiver in a different state, that would be kind of the first step to find the contact information for that particular state. Excuse me. And then in-person support, any kind of support groups you can go to, you can get caregivers together. A lot of faith communities have caregiver support groups that you can go to that are that can be very, very helpful. And then be creative. Respite doesn't always have to mean a professional that you pay coming into the home to care for your loved one. Respite can be your neighbor coming over for 5 minutes so you can take a quick shower. Respite can be, your adult daughter coming over to sit with your husband so you can take that uninterrupted nap, or you can go to Lowe's and buy your gardening stuff so you can get out in your front yard and plant some flowers. So there's a lot of different things, so it's always important to be creative, because respite is what family caregivers want to do. So one way that you can be creative, and you can anybody can use this. This is I love giving this example, is the fishbowl, and it's like just a cute orange cat. I mean, you gotta love that. So anyway, go ahead and put a fishbowl in your entryway, somewhere close to your front door, and then every time that you have something that you need help with, or something you need done, or something that that you want to do but you can't because you're at home caring for your loved one, write it down on a slip of paper. Put all the slips of paper into the fishbowl, and then as soon as somebody comes over and says, hey, what can I do for you today? How can I help you? Have them pick something out of the fishbowl, because then, one, you're going to get something that you know you need. Because a lot of times when people ask, hey, what can I do to help you? Your mind doesn't go directly to, I could really use somebody to cut the grass. Your mind just spins and says, I have no idea. So this can be the way that you get things done that you need help with. Two, it's going to help the person that asked you to be able to help, because they are not asking, well, sometimes they're just asking to be nice, but people usually genuinely want to be able to help you. And so that person is going to be able to help you, and they're going to know that they did something that was meaningful for you. And that is a beautiful thing to give that gift to somebody, to allow them to be able to help you. So, so I just love that the fishbowl example of a creative way to get the help that you need. And of course, if it's, to drive dad to the doctor is what somebody pulled out of the fishbowl, and it's the 14-year-old grandson that you're not, that doesn't have his driver's license yet, he can pick something else out of the fishbowl. So it's not, you're not signing a contract with it, so you don't have to hold somebody specifically to it, but it's gonna be that creative way to really get what you need and allow people to truly do something to help you as a caregiver, or just as an individual that sometimes needs help, because we all need help sometimes. So this is my contact information. Like I said, our office is in Nashville, but we do serve the entire state. Our website is right at the bottom, the tnrespite.org. You can always find information there. And our contact information, we have a staff of 4, myself, and then Karen, who is the program coordinator for the voucher program, Phyllis, who is our program assistant for the voucher program, and to help with some office, taking care of the office, answering the phone, and then Mandy, who heads up our Senior Companions program, which is a specific program here in Davidson County where we have volunteers. But any one of us, will answer the phone, and we can take applications, and really we're a dedicated small group of individuals. We serve, well, this year we're on target to serve over 400 caregivers across the state with our voucher program, and this is all that we do. We take care of family caregivers. So please get that number out to any caregivers that you run into, in your work at the clinics, and give us a call if you have any questions at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's terrific.
Thank you.
Yeah. What a resource.
Does anybody have any questions for Jennifer?